So we're going to do some practical practice on 22 and 23 today, some of which y'all have already looked at. It's going to be 22-2 and 23-2, I believe, are the exercises that we looked at, or we're going to look at. Y'all should have already done those in the assignments, because I wanted to see how y'all did with that. If y'all had questions as y'all had went through those in particular, I wanted to do some stuff that y'all have already had a chance to look at and dig into a little bit and kind of see.
I am listening. I'm just on the road at the moment, so I am listening.
That's fine. That's no problem. I appreciate you listening in. All right. So, let's see. I think that was Precious that just said she was on the road. I think you already got your stuff turned in anyway. So you can follow along after the fact. You'll be good to go. All right. So 22 and 23. Eyes. I don't know about y'all, but I find the eyes confusing. More so confusing than some of the other stuff. And I think it's just because the terminology I am not at all familiar with. I've never worked in anything having to do with eyes, or any of that kind of stuff. So this was a learning experience for me too. And something I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but the codes for these, especially the ICD-10 codes having to do with this chapter, were a little bit more involved. Like there was one of them that went out to the 7th, all the way out to the 7th character, and there was an X and an O and an A at the end of it. And I don't know if you guys caught that or what.
I saw it, but I didn't know where all of them letters came from.
Well, we'll talk about that. That's one of the ones we're going to look at. And we'll go into detail about where those came from and why we're putting them there. All right, so let's see. The first one. Exercise 22-2, chapter 22, the nervous system. I don't much care for the endocrine and nervous system either, y'all. This is not my favorite module.
I didn't like the urinary and male genital system.
I didn't like those either. I don't know if I'm just old school and I just don't feel like talking about genitalia.
I was over both female and male.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't care for those too much either.
Yeah, I need some medical terminology. Yeah. Big
time on these. Because this was all stuff that I've never really done a whole lot with as far as work experience. All right, so let's look at number 1 on 22-2. Drainage of a non-traumatic subdural hematoma using burr holes. All right, so burr holes is a killer keyword, y'all. Anytime y'all see burr holes in a scenario, that's where you're going to start with your CPT, that procedure. And then under burr hole, when you look that up in the alphabetic index, whole bunch of different options. But we know here, I mean, it's pretty simple. Drainage of a non-traumatic subdural hematoma. So drainage of a hematoma. All right. So what did y'all come out with for that one?
61154.
Yes, ma'am. On the money. On the money. Did anybody have any questions about that one? It's pretty straightforward, I thought, that one.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going over the 22-1.
22-2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Page 597. All right, says number 1. Let's take a look at number 2. This was the one with the crazy. Oh, well, let's talk about the ICD-10 code for number 1 first. All right, so on that, hematoma, it's basically a pocket of blood, bleeding, also be called a hemorrhage. Hemorrhage and hematoma kind of go hand in hand. So the ICD-10 code for this one, you're going to start at hemorrhage. Even though the word hemorrhage is not in there, not technically in the scenario, that hematoma kind of clues you into that. Okay. So you're going to start off with hemorrhage, and then under that, you're going to find your body part, the section where you had said hemorrhage. Right, so that one, the subdural hematoma is going to be intracranial. You have hemorrhage, intracranial, and then subdural. Okay, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but with this code, they give you some options as far as traumatic, non-traumatic, things like that. They want to know how this hematoma happened. You, of course, will go non-traumatic. And you're ending at code I62.00. Everybody found that okay?
I got 62.9.
62.9. Let's look at that real quick. I came in here without my coding manuals. How about that?
I probably did something, didn't look at something all the way. That's what I noticed today.
That's possible. 62.9. That's going to be down in the subsection a bit. There's probably a slight difference. You
Yeah.
probably just missed something in
Always.
the definition. Yep. Sometimes it just happens.
Yep.
All right. But I do want to, y'all give me 1 second. I want to go grab my ICD-10 manual so we can look at this next one that was so out there. Give me just 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, because sometimes the hematoma said contusion. So you'd be wondering if you're using contusion or the hematoma.
It's a lot of guesswork for
Yes.
me anyway.
Yes, especially like one of the on the test when they had hematoma and you're looking for hematoma and it said contusion. So you're looking for contusion because it tells you go to contusion and you went all the way back and went to contusion and you put that, and then when you submitted for the test, it said it was
It's the wrong answer, girl.
The ICD-10 still kicks my tail.
Yes, I still have problems with that too, so
Oh
don't
my
feel bad.
God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we getting close to time where we just have a few
Exactly.
months left to be graduating and we still fighting with this
I
ICD.
still don't know how to use it properly.
I hate that book.
And sometimes it then it giving you at first when we was first taking the test, it would give you at least a half a point. Now it's not giving me
Yeah,
no points at
yes.
all till she goes back in and check it.
All right. And y'all, let me tell y'all something about ICD-10 too. Don't think, and I know I've said this before, don't think that when y'all get into the job that you're gonna, if you take a coding job, that necessarily you're gonna be sitting at a desk all day digging through this manual. That's not the case. Very rarely is it the case. Most of the time now we have EHRs, which is
Yeah.
electronic health records. We have software, EMRs, that have all the coding
Yeah.
guidelines and rules already in there. And if you try to file a claim with it when it's not correct, the software is going to catch it. And then number two, between your software where you work and the insurance company, there's another entity called the clearinghouse. Okay. The claims go to the clearinghouse. The clearinghouse may kick it back. That's what they're pretty much there for. They're there to make sure that we are filing our claims to the insurance companies correctly. And they're just kind of facilitating that flow. Okay. So your billing companies send, and it's all electronic. I mean, just instantaneous. It's sending stuff to the clearinghouse. The clearinghouse will do a rough check on it, spit it back to you if anything is wrong. And if it's not wrong, they'll send it on to the insurance company, which then the insurance company will do another check on it and make sure that everything is to their liking. And you go from there. Okay. So a lot of times this book is not going to come into play that much, but we got to know that if all technology ceases to exist, you can find a code. You at least know where to look, where to
I
start.
feel like I'm
Okay.
looking things up in the library
That's
Yes.
it.
with the
That's it.
With
Dewey
an
Decimal System.
encyclopedia.
And there's one thing, y'all, and I know a lot of people will say, well, I could get the code off Google. Well, sure, any idiot could get the code off Google.
Yeah.
But not everybody knows to go in this book and read your guidelines to make sure you're coding correctly. You know what I'm saying? Not everything can be found on Google. You got to double check yourselves in this book sometimes if your software is not there to back it up. Okay. And like I was explaining also on the certification exam that you guys take at the end of the course, there is no cold coding. You're not sitting there with a manual and this huge scenario and you've got to figure out the right code. It's all multiple choice. Process of elimination is going to save you a lot of time. You know, if the code is not even in the right chapter of that, you know, body system for this scenario, you know, it's not going to be that answer. So it's not as much as y'all struggle with ICD-10, I don't want you to stress about it. I don't want you to stress about it.
That's what we was
Especially-
worrying about. We said we getting close to
I know, I can hear
everything,
y'all. while I
the
was grabbing
final
my book.
exam, and we still fighting with the ICD. But I'm glad it's multiple choice. Like you say, if it's
Yeah.
not following in line with the chapter, and if it's a code that's way in Z, now you know it's not gonna be Z because you way out of the chapter.
That's right. That's
I see
exactly
what you're
right.
saying now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So,
understand now.
you know, that's going to help some. But even, you know, like I say, the stuff that you're going to deal with as far as what codes and guidelines you're going to need to know for your job is going to depend on that job, you know, and you're not going to know that until you get there. So it may not click. ICD-10 may never really click with you. You just may not like it or get it or whatever. And that's okay. You don't have to get it 100%. You don't have to really like it to do it. Because like I said, you're probably not going to be stuck with this book, just sitting at a desk all day with this book. That doesn't really happen anymore. So don't stress about it. We just got to get through it. We just got to know that you know what the book's for, you know where the codes come from, and you know how to get the information that you need to code it correctly. And y'all will get there. Y'all get all the little tips and tricks and hints and stuff. And like I said, for the folks that have been here since January are a lot more comfortable with it since they've been doing it for months. It takes time and practice and doing it and doing it and doing it and digging through the books and digging through the books and digging through the books and just familiarizing yourself with them. So it's an overtime thing. It's definitely not an overnight thing. But I don't want y'all to stress about that. That's all I was trying to say with that little rant. Just don't let it overwhelm you and get you down, pretty much. All right, so let's take a look at number 2, the drainage of traumatic subdural hematoma with craniectomy suprainterior. All right, so for the CPT code, it's pretty straightforward. We know our procedure is a craniectomy. So that's where we start in our alphabetic index, craniectomy. And then they're going to give you a whole bunch of different options under that. And this one, it might not say drainage, it might say evacuation, which is the same thing, more or less. Similar verbiage anyway. I think it says evacuation of hematoma.
61312.
Yes, 61312. You got that?
And it is the ICD-10 code is S06.5X0A.
Yeah. Yeah, that is correct. But let's take a look how we got there real quick. All right. And I'm gonna walk through this with y'all. because I want to see exactly what it says. Okay. So drainage of traumatic subdural hematoma with craniac superinterior. Okay, so this is a traumatic subdural hematoma. That's our injury, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna start with injury.
That's your diagnosis?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Come on, we gotta go.
This is probably gonna be the last time you see any of us. Because, you know, so down to the-
No, we won't. He's up. He's up.
That be?
No, it's water.
Water, but I'm thirsty.
All right, so injury, and we're gonna go, Lord, it's like how many pages of injury?
No.
Pages and pages and pages.
We on number 3?
Number 2. All right, so injury in that first indentation. Remember, we don't have to read everything. We just need to follow that first indentation until we get to where we need to be. So under injury, first indentation, subdural hematoma, craniectomy. Okay, so injury, and that's going to be intracranial. Subdural hematoma is going to be intracranial. And it is pages and pages over. All right, so I found intracranial traumatic. See also, if applicable, compression brain traumatic, S069. Injury, intracranial. This is subdural hematoma. So intracranial. Okay, it says subdural hemorrhage instead of hematoma.
We're doing 22 too.
Yeah, 22-2.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you on Monday. See you Monday.
Yeah, we close at 12 on Friday.
All right, so on page 314 in the alphabetic index, we've got intracranial. And then a little ways down, you'll see where it says subdural hemorrhage traumatic.
Okay.
That fits what we're working with perfectly. So that's S06
I can pull it out or whatever.
dot 5X.
Just bring it.
And you see that red dot there, right? So we know
Yeah,
what that red dot means.
That
That
means
means the code is active.
That means that
You have to add on, right?
exactly.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
you
I
will,
put
it will
zero.
not be used as it is. It indents down.
Okay, sounds
Zero.
good.
All right, so let's go find that SO5, SO6.5X.
okay, then you have the next one is S06.5XO, and there's a stop sign.
Hold on, let me get there.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go over there yesterday. Thank you.
Yeah, because I was about to ask where they did that other letter from, but I see why it's all the way on the next page.
All right, so traumatic subdural hemorrhage. And you see your stop sign, yep. Use additional code if applicable for traumatic brain compression or herniation. Okay, we didn't have compression or herniation mentioned anywhere in our little scenario, so we're not gonna really worry about that. So, under traumatic subdural hemorrhage. Drainage, superinterior. All right, so our options under this are traumatic sub with that. Okay, so when it gets down to this last indentation, start looking at those purple highlights. Those purple highlights are your keywords that are going to be the differences in each of these codes. Okay. So that first one you see is without loss of consciousness. Now, we don't really know. We don't really know. 30 minutes or less of consciousness. All right. So all of that is dealing with the time. Yeah. So the only difference in all of those is the time. All right, so without loss of consciousness was going to be the one we're going to go with because we don't.
You don't know how long he was.
Yeah, if
without
he
loss
did,
of consciousness?
they don't say that he did lose consciousness and they don't tell us how long if he did.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm going to have to assume that he did not lose consciousness because my options are either he did or he didn't.
Yes.
And I can't say that he did.
Mhm.
So we're going to go with that he didn't. So without loss of consciousness. And then let's see. I am going to go to the front of this section. Because it says we got to carry it out all the way. So there are probably some directions as to what else we need to add on to this in the front of the section.
So whenever it has the stop sign, it means you have to always carry it all the way out to the end.
Yeah, that means you're going to have additional characters added onto your code.
Mhm.
All right, so if you turn back a few pages to page 1258, you'll see that that is where the section S06 starts, right? Intracranial injury. And you'll see it has one of those little blue boxes with an A, a D, and an S. Initial encounter, subsequent encounter, or sequela. All right, so ours, it doesn't say that it was a subsequent. Sequela is not going to fit. So initial encounter. So that's how we get the XO and the A. The XO is already on there from it indenting down. So we didn't really have to guess at that. The A is the only thing that we had to add on. And we knew that because of our stop sign, right? So nice long code, but not that complicated to get to. When you look at it, you're like, oh crap, but it's not that deep, right? Y'all agree with me on that?
So it has 7 boxes. So that's how you know how many to use.
The code can be anywhere from 3 digits out to 7 or characters. 3 to 7 characters is what the code can be.
I'm still here. I'm just getting off of work.
You're fine. You're fine. Anytime you see that little stop sign, if you look down at the bottom of the page, you see the little stop sign in the index down there. It says use additional characters. That means they want you to, there are additional things that you need to add on to that code to be more specific. And they want you to carry it out to the 7th character, the 7th placeholder.
The 7.
So that
okay,
means
that's fine.
if the code is only 3 or 4 characters long, you're going to add X's to finish it out, right?
Oh,
Or
okay.
you're either going to add X's or it's going to give you these little directional boxes that are going to tell you what to add in. But that
Okay.
little stop sign is the indicator there.
Okay, so all the time you see the stop sign, it's mean you have to add additional characters.
Right, right. And, you know, like this section is pages and pages long. So we had to go about 4 pages back to get that little informational box. But just whatever codes you're looking at, if you see that stop sign and there's not real clear directions right there under the description, you're gonna wanna look back and see if there's a box that you need to reference. We good on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome sauce. Anybody got any questions so far? Good. Awesome. All right, so let's look at, switch on over to chapter 23. And we're gonna look at 23-2 on page 610. I'm gonna move this big old book. All right, so did you guys notice when looking for CPT codes for the I stuff, it's either gonna almost always have a modifier of left, right, or both?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that is something that I did want to mention to y'all. I saw there was a couple of people that were putting like the same code and then putting a ×2. That does not work. You have to list the code twice and then put the modifier that says it was both. Okay? There's no ×2 when it comes to these. All right, so let's look at number 1. Left labyrinthotomy with cryosurgery with multiple perfusions, transcanal. All right, so they're just wanting CPT code on most of these. And that's also the way the exam is set up, y'all. I think it's a pretty sizable exam. It's actually about 10 multiple choice. There's 8 practical questions. 6 of them, you're only going to find the CPT. And then there's 2 that I'm asking you for the CPT and the ICD-10s. And then the same little diagram you did on your worksheets, both of those diagrams are also on the exam. So I know y'all will do fine. You guys covered the material. I'm not worried about y'all. Y'all got this. All right, so
whenever you're using the CPT code for the eyes and the ears, you're always going to use the LT whenever it asks for left or right.
It's either going to be on the left eye, the right eye, or on both of them.
Okay, because I noticed like sometimes we do certain CPT codes and it'll say left something, but you don't have to require to put LT or RT all the time.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess I noticed when
gotta-
you're doing the test and you put left or right and the test marks it wrong. So I'm like, am I going crazy?
the test pretty much is marking it wrong no matter what you put. If you put an extra space, if you put anything just slightly off kilter, it marks it wrong. So I wouldn't even count on its grading. Don't even worry
Because I
about
know
your
my,
grade until
my
after I look
CPT
at it.
code be right, and I'm like, but I know I had to. It said,
Because that's
and I
the
had
thing.
to add left or right.
If y'all
and
got the
still
code
mark it
right
wrong.
and left out the LT or the RT, I gave you partial credit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or if you put the wrong one, I still gave you partial credit because you got most of that answer.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, if y'all file that claim and you put left instead of right, well, your records are gonna come not agree with what you're filing there. So the insurance company is gonna kick it back to you.
Okay.
Which is not ideal, but also not the end of the world. I mean, you just correct it. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, it's either going to be the left eye, the right eye, or both eyes. That's pretty much it. So you always, when they give you that direction, you definitely want to add that in.
So when it's both, and for the CPT code, so you're gonna put the code one time and you're gonna put left, and then you put the code again and you put right.
You don't have to put, when it's both, you don't have to put the left or right.
Okay,
Because
you
it's
just
both.
add the modifier.
You put the
Modifier.
code and then you're gonna do the same code again with a modifier 50.
Oh,
Let you know
okay,
it's
okay.
bilateral procedure, both eyes, bilateral.
Okay, so you put the code like the number first,
Mhm.
and then you put the number again, and then you put with the modifier.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so you never put times 2.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, not for these. Nope. Okay. So on this one, on number 1, we started with labyrinthotomy. Ooh, I said it right. And this one was pretty straightforward too. You had labyrinthotomy and then transcranial. Would y'all get on that one?
69801 LT.
Perfect. Perfect.
What did you say? 69801 LT. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So that one was pretty straightforward. Now, number 2, which Julia, this one kind of just jumps right into what we we're just talking about. Bilateral insertion of pressure equalization tubes using general anesthesia. You actually want to look this one up. All right, so where did y'all start with this one?
I'm trying to find the word.
Yeah, I think I did equalization tubes.
Did it ask you to see procedure or see something else when you looked it up that way?
Let me see. I can't remember.
I don't.
I'm in my book too, so we're gonna find out. And also, guys, when y'all get into a job, like with this one,
Oh Lord.
the way they say to start in your alphabetic index with this one is with the procedure tympanostomy. But that's not listed anywhere in the scenario. So unless you know something, you're already working in this field, you're probably not going to get that right off, right? And that's another reason why I say don't let it stress you out too much. Because once you get into the field or the specialty that you're working in, you will get familiar with these terms. You will learn this stuff in better detail to where you can code how you need to or bill how you need to.
I know that I looked up equalization for another one that was in my ICD 10 codes. Never mind.
Okay, that's all right. Because that's probably where I would have started too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed tympanostomy.
No, it's in the book. I
It
think.
is?
Let me double check. I'm checking the spelling.
I'm
Yeah.
checking too.
I
Yeah.
thought I looked it up somewhere, but I don't know if it was in the ICD-10 or
Try
the
1249 in the CPT book for tympanostomy. Tympanostomy.
There we go. All right. But see, how would somebody get to tympanostomy from that
To look up
scenario?
that a PE tube is, that's what it is. That's how I found it.
Okay. See that
I
sometimes
had to go
guys,
back in the reading to find out what the pressure,
yeah.
and then it gives you that name and then you find that.
Mm-hmm.
There you
That's how
go.
I found it. I couldn't remember how I did it.
See, y'all are good. I love it. I love it.
What number we on again?
Number 2.
Number 2.
All right. So under tympanostomy, which was on page 1249, and it states right there with general anesthesia 69436. But we see that it's asking for 2 codes because
I was just about to say that. Isn't it 2 codes?
yeah, because it's bilateral. It's asking us for 2.
Okay, I got
Is this the one where you add the modifier 50 on the second
yeah.
page?
Yeah.
Okay,
I got
yeah.
69436-50.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Hello.
Yep. Absolutely. Y'all got any questions? Y'all are doing, I know y'all say that it bothers y'all that it's not clicking like that, but y'all are really doing excellent. Y'all are
I
really
feel
doing
like it
a great
takes
job.
me forever.
That's with the ICD-10 module, I just have to like go through it and then just take my time.
Yeah.
Just doing it because
Oh, jeez.
I be wanting to understand it instead of
Absolutely.
looking it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what, there's a lot of this stuff, guys, that in order to explain it to y'all, I've got to go look it up and work it backwards and see where they got like this tympanostomy one, tympanotomy. Not something I have any experience with, but I know how to use the book. I know how to read the guidelines. I know how the sections indent down. You know, I'm familiar enough with it to find out what I need to find out. And that's the goal. The goal is not for y'all to memorize codes and know things off the top of your head. It's not going to happen. So if that's what y'all are expecting, don't feel bad about yourself when that doesn't happen. Okay. That's not the reality of it. And it doesn't have to be. Like I said, we have software, the internet, bouncing stuff off of clearinghouses. You know, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Y'all got anything else for me? Anything
No,
else
ma'am.
y'all want to talk about at all while we're
No.
here? Oh, there is something I do want to mention. Okay, so when we get into module 155 on Monday, which y'all, I'm gonna be kind of hard pressed to be getting anything in the next couple of days. I've just got a whole lot going on the next couple of days. So Sunday I will probably be putting in most of the stuff for next week. So if y'all look for it before then and it's not there, that's why. That'll be going in on Sunday. But things are going to look a little bit different in the way things are labeled. Okay. We are not going to have a QOD anymore, like a label for it. The QOD is going to now be called your daily assignment. It's just changing name. It's still essentially the question of the day is still going to be just as easy as it was. It's just going to be called daily assignment. And that's going to be the only thing in that top section of assignments is those. All right. Everything else is going to be labs. And that's it. All you're going to have is daily assignment, lab, and exam. You're just not going to have anything labeled QOD anymore. It's still going to be there, renamed. And your daily assignments will be, that you used to find in daily assignment will now be found in labs also. It's not changing that much, just a little relabeling. But I didn't want you to be shocked when you went in there and was like, it's all different.
So labs and daily work will be together.
No, daily assignments are still going to be in that top section.
Okay.
You're just not going to see anything labeled QOD there anymore.
Okay.
It's just going to be daily assignment.
Oh, okay.
But that daily assignment is just one question. Okay. And everything else is going to be under labs. Yeah.
Okay, so we won't have like like you just say, question of the day that we have to answer for that day to say we participated, and also have exercises to do. So we're just gonna have daily assignment that we have to do for that day, and everything else gonna be labs.
Yeah, and I'm gonna set it to where it doesn't close on that day. I'm just gonna leave everything open till Sunday.
Okay,
And just give
that's why I
y'all
was
all week
wondering,
to
because
do
I'm
it.
like, oh, I gotta be
No,
rushing.
you're gonna be all right.
Work
You're
to
gonna
be
be all
trying
right.
to get that in for that day.
Just
So
just
we'll just have
try to
two
get
assignments instead of one.
ma'am.
I mean, we'll have 2 assignments instead of 3 to do a day.
It's actually I don't know why
It's
they
still
want us to
3?
change it. It's dumb, but it's just you're not losing or gaining anything. It's just
Okay.
labeling.
Okay.
It's going to be the exact same amount of work. It's just going to be the QOD is now called daily assignment, and the stuff that the material you would have found under daily assignment is now going to be moved into lab.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. You're not losing or gaining anything. It's just relabeling. I don't know why. I think that's to make it easier for when people come to audit us, to check in on what we're doing, to be compliant. I'm thinking that's why they're making these changes. But they say that's what I got to do. So, c'est la vie. But I didn't want y'all to be shocked when y'all went in and things looked a little bit different. But I think that's all I got. Has anybody looked at the extra credit assignment? What did y'all think about that?
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. I just wish I had more pictures to choose from.
Google. I use Google. If you use Canva, they have a big library that you can.
Yeah,
almost
that's what I
anything you can
use.
think of. But between there and I think I got one of them. The picture of the truck I used, I got off of Google because I didn't like what Canva had. And then
I had no idea how to. I didn't want to get off because I'm like, if I get off, I don't know how to get it on. I was like, I'm gonna use what they
Me
have.
too. I just stayed on Canvas because I'm like, I'm not trying to add no extra picture. And
right.
the picture, there's a picture of your daughter. I was like, this is so cute.
Yeah. Picture,
I know I wanted to do something like that, but
that's my husband and my daughter.
She is such a
My
cutie.
people. She's a mess. She's a hot mess.
But I want to see if you could reopen the vision board for me, because I noticed I downloaded from the Canvas vision board and I ended up submitting it, but when I came to click on it to open it back up, it just showed like the template. It didn't show all my pictures I put on. So I was able to go back and get my pictures and put it on there another way and submit it. So now I'll have to resubmit it, but I need to have it reopened.
That's no problem. That's no problem. I can definitely do that for you.
Okay.
As soon as we jump off, I'll get that done. All right. Anybody else got anything you want to talk about, discuss? Anything?
I need to do a retake on
Which one, Marky?
the second to last one, not the one we took, not the one I did yesterday, but the one before it.
2021?
Let me see.
2021 should have been the second to last one.
I think it was 22, 23.
22, 23 is our last.
22 is the second to last one, then 22, 23 is the last one.
Right.
Oh, 21, 22 then. Yeah.
All right. I'll look at them. I'll get it open back up for you. All right, ladies. Well, if y'all don't have
Look at
anything.
the baby.
On our test, are we gonna have any definitions or no?
Nope. It's just you got that 10 matching, and then 6 questions where you're gonna find the CPTs, and then 2 where you're gonna do CPTs and ICD-10s, and then the 2
That's better
diagrams.
than having 4. Okay.
Okay.
I try to keep it simple.
Okay.
Trying to keep it simple. Yeah. Trying to help y'all out.
Amen.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, if that's it, I wish y'all a blessed weekend and good luck with that last chapter test. And I'm just gonna rock and roll into 155. Keep on.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too.
All
Thank you.
right.
See you later.
Weekend.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.